what is best in life? To crush your enemies, see them driven before you, and to hear the lamentation of your women.
All right. It's the Tuesday night Radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. Welcome in, everybody. It looks like we've already got JJ Nevada's in the chat. We got spam bot fodder. He said starting late. It was 1 minute late. 1 minute. He's saying something I think a padded room would be a good place to drop more than a few folks in politics. Yeah, we need more padded rooms, I think. I think we need more of them. We definitely need more padded rooms. There's no question about that. Yes, we can decide who will put them in, who we will put in the padded rooms later, I suppose. All right. I'm already having trouble talking. I better have some more rant juice. Sweet caffeine. All right. So what is it? It's Tuesday night. Let's talk to you on Sunday. What's happened since then? A bunch of stuff, I guess. Hope you're having a good week so far. Let's go through the menu. What are we going to talk about tonight? So first off, we're going to talk about Teamsters in all states prefer Trump to Kamala or Kamala. Keep forgetting to call her Kamala. Yeah, we'll talk about this. And, I keep hearing that her internal polling, her own internal polling is not that good, and they're a bit worried. And I thought we'd go through some stuff. So I put together a bunch of stuff, the latest polls. I asked Grok to bring up some stuff about errors. By how far were the polls in 2016 and 2020? Because that's interesting stuff. That's important. And then we'll take a little bit of a look at Rasmussen, which has actually been, if not the most accurate poll over that period, over the Trump era, I guess we'll call it. It's one of the most accurate in what they're saying. So we'll take a look at all that. It's very educational. It's really, really good. I think you're going to enjoy it. What else we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about what's going on here. Oh yeah, we got some Trudeau stuff. We got a bunch of Trudeau stuff. As we always do. Hold on one second. Got to do something real quick. Hold on, you guys. Okay, there we go. All right. Nevada's saying, hey, everyone, hit the like button. I already did. Excellent advice for everyone. So, yeah, we got a bunch of stuff. Rosie sent me a couple of things on X, formerly Twitter, to look at. This is one of them. So you guys can send me stuff over there, and I'll take a look at it. We might bring it up on the show. Nevada's saying, what the fuck is that?
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
With True Gina. Anyway, we'll get into that. Yeah, we got some stuff. We got Shane Gillis here, mentions Trudeau in his, I guess it's in his Toronto appearance. We've got this Trudeau on Colbert. These two are made for each other. Just made for each other. They're just each as gross and slimy and cringe as the other. There's got to be some way that they can, after Trudeau's out of politics, I don't know, maybe they can both get sex changes, and then I don't know what they'd be after that. I don't know if they'd be trans men or trans. I don't know. Anyway, this is actually edited by Danny Polishchuk, this one. So that's a separate one. So we've got the same clip in here somewhere that we'll go over with what's really in it. This is Danny Polishchuk rewrote it, did a little AI thing with it. But we've got the actual clip, and it's actually even worse, I would say. All right. We'll talk a little bit about Ryan Routh, the second attack on Trump. We've got Pierre Poilievre here talking about the Liberals. Now, today, they put through the no confidence vote. and it will actually be voted on tomorrow in Parliament. It's not going to go through. Both the Bloc and the NDP are going to prop up Trudeau, of course. Nobody expected that they wouldn't. But anyway, we'll see this a little bit. Kamala Harris, of course, we're going to talk about her. Look at this footage. She's chanting "down with deportation" at a far left protest. I thought she was really tough on the border, tough on illegal immigration. I thought she was really tough on it. Oh, this seems kind of inconvenient, isn't it? Huh? It's almost like she just says whatever she has to say at any time. I know one American politician, who's been pretty much right down the line with his opinions the entire time about the whole border thing. That Donald Trump guy, he hasn't changed his mind. Seems like everybody else says. It seems like Kamala will just kind of say whatever. I wonder if that's why she didn't have any policies on her website and her campaign website for like 2 months, just so she could just kind of figure out, or the people that are handling her could figure out what people wanted to hear. Let's see. We got JD Vance here. We're going to talk. Okay. So here's Trump again. 5 known teams hunting President Trump before the Butler, Pennsylvania attempt. One of those was Ukrainian. So from Matt Gaetz. So it just is all totally insane, isn't it? We'll take a look at that. Got a little bit of something on Trudeau's online harms bill, the Orwellian dystopian online censorship bill with pre-crime, where you can be punished for things you haven't actually done, but some activist judge thinks, oh, he might, or she might. Let's see. And then we've got, what's this? Yeah, we're being gaslit. Liberals are claiming that Canadians don't want an election right now. I beg to differ, and Canadians themselves beg to differ, but we'll get into that. We have got all the kind of random stuff that I've put together. There's a fellow with a beard, but apparently a lesbian. A lesbian, they say. A lesbian, I hear. Interesting. Here is Michael Schellenberger warning us about censorship and how, well, you can go through the list here. Gates, Soros, Biden, Harris, Walz, Clinton, Obama, legacy media, FBI, CIA, DHS, EU, Brazil, the Five Eyes nations, desperate to censor the internet. Yeah, I just was talking about Trudeau desperate to censor the internet in Canada 3 seconds ago. We'll see a little bit of that. It's all part of the plan, isn't it? None of this is a coincidence. There's Soros. We're going to talk about Trudeau. We got a bunch of Trudeau. I'm sorry to do it to you with the Trudeau stuff. I know it's so difficult to actually listen to him. Like, it's so difficult to listen to him without throwing something, breaking something, without throwing up. But we have to. We have to honor our ancestors, I think. Yeah, here's the real interview with Trudeau and Colbert, which, again, it's going to make you want to throw something. But we'll talk about that. I got something to say about that, let me tell you. A bunch of stuff, some more stuff on Matt Walsh with the Am I Racist movie. This decolonization, it's so weird, this decolonization movement in England to decolonize England from the English, who are just the indigenous people in England. Very fucking weird. Again, none of it makes any sense. None of it makes a damn bit of sense that's coming from the modern left these days. This is for Antipop. I don't know if we'll see him in here tonight. He's usually here, but I brought I remember to get some Maxime Bernier for him. So if Antipop, if you're out there, you can enjoy this. Let's see. We got some more of this Kevin O'Leary, who's really spitting out truth these days. Let's see. About 20 years ago. Yeah, so we're going to take a look at this. Remember the honeybee? There was a honeybee apocalypse. Do you remember that? Remember the colony collapse disorder, the honeybee apocalypse? Apparently it's not real. So it's actually not. Now there's 30%, 31% more bees in America. So even more people getting stung. So and that's good, actually. That's good because you kind of need the bees. But another apocalyptic sky is falling warning that turned out to just be bullshit. Melanie Jolie. The less said about her, the better, but we'll have to see a few words, I guess. We've got tons of stuff in here. I guess my point is we've got tons of stuff. There's Brett Weinstein. My point is that we've got tons of stuff. We don't have that many weirdos in that one. Oh, here's some stuff with the dogs. Usually when they scroll down with the bookmarks here, a bunch of stuff it just doesn't show. And then when you scroll back up again, it all gets revealed. It's weird. It's kind of a glitch in the, kind of a bit of a glitch with X. Seems like we did get most of it, actually, though. All right. What are we doing? Let me make sure I didn't get anything missing there. Okay. Let me check one thing. Ooh, it looks like we're going to get ads for this. In fact, let's just do one right now. Why not? Let's just get started with the ads. Let's see. So what's going on? It's National Preparedness Month. So at 4 Patriots, we want to celebrate by bringing back this unbelievable buy one, get one deal on solar generators. Solar generators are a great idea. For a limited time, when you buy the powerful Patriot Power Generator 2000X, you'll get a mini generator for free. That's 2 generators. Plus, you'll also score 2 solar panels for free, too. That's right, not 1, but 2 solar panels come with this incredible buy one, get one deal on solar generators. This is a hell of a deal. So claim your power independence and free mini generator and free solar panels by going to 4patriots.com. That's 4patriots.com. Hurry through. You only have until midnight on September 30th to claim your free mini generator. Go to 4, that's the number 4patriots.com today. In this troubled world, that could really come in handy. I feel like I nailed that one right off the bat. I feel like I nailed that one right away. I don't know what you guys think. Nevada says, Richie, you need an email to send funny things to. I'm not on X, but I see things that I want to share with you all the time. You could send to the website, radiobaloney.com. You can go on there, and then there you'll just see a link to send something. And go for it. Yeah, it's good. I like that. Let's see. And Nevada says, do an ad. I just did an ad. All right. And of course, if we get depressed, and if at any point in this, the news just kind of gets us down, bums us out a little bit, we need a little bit of something to restore our faith in humanity. We will always have this. My God, she's hypnotic. She's like a magician. All right, anyway. Better have some more caffeine. All right. So, what's going on here? Teamsters in all states prefer Trump to Kamala. Internal poll. So, you keep hearing about how she's ahead, she's pulling ahead, she's got momentum. And all this. I don't know. I mean, considering how off the polls have been in the last 2 presidential elections, and then you see stuff like this. I mean, one thing that this stands for is, or one thing that this represents is the Democrats' abandonment of the working class. Right? If they're losing union members, maybe they haven't lost the leadership of the unions because it's so political. But if they're losing the members of the unions, that tells you something. That tells you who the Democrats are working for. And it's starting to be realized. Trump saw the largest lead in West Virginia when he received 86.3% support compared to 11.2% for Kamala Harris, a 75.1 point lead. Now, they're not all that wide. While the Teamsters Union has announced that it won't endorse any candidates in the 2024 election, internal polling of its members across all 50 states has found that its members overwhelmingly support Trump, even in Democratic strongholds. It's everywhere. Trump saw the largest lead in West Virginia, where he received 86.3% support compared to 11.2%. Yeah, so we've already seen that. Trump saw a roughly 50-point lead over Harris in Tennessee, a roughly 40-point lead in states like Arkansas, Connecticut, Indiana, Virginia, and Montana, and roughly a 30-point lead in states like Alaska, Hawaii, South Carolina, Ohio, Kentucky, Maine, and New Mexico, and a roughly 20-point lead in Texas, Utah, North Dakota, and Nebraska. It's really surprising me this Hawaii one, 30-point. Wow. Trump led Harris in all 2024 swing states as well, leading 56.3% to 40.7% in Georgia, 59.9% to 37.3% in Nevada, 57% to 40.5% in Wisconsin, 61.7 to 35 in Michigan, 57 to 38 in Arizona, 65 to 31 in Pennsylvania, and 69 to 29 in North Carolina. That's commanding. That is commanding. Members in states that are traditionally Democrat strongholds also preferred Trump over Harris, including California, Colorado, Massachusetts, Oregon, and New York. And these are not small. I mean, California, that's pretty small. That's under 2 points. But all the rest of them, I mean, you can see Colorado, that's 13. Massachusetts, that's 30. Oregon, that's about 12. New York, surprisingly, almost 30, like 29 there. That's surprising. Two outliers in the poll were Wyoming, where there was no recorded participation by Teamsters in the state, and the District of Columbia, of course, where 96.8% of its members voted for Harris and 0% voted for Trump or another candidate. How can that be 0%? 0%? Really? What is it like? Is it just like a banana republic in the District of Columbia? Like, what's going on? How can that be possible? In the 2020 election, Biden won the district with 93% of the vote. So a press release from the union on September 18th revealed that the union would not be endorsing any candidate in 2024 after reviewing 6 months of nationwide member polling and wrapping up nearly a year of rank-and-file roundtable interviews with all major candidates for the presidency. The union was left with few commitments on top Teamsters issues from either former President Donald Trump or Vice President Kamala Harris, and found no definitive support among members for either party's nominee. Yes, they did. We've just been through all of it. Even in New York, I mean, by what was that, 29 points? California was close, but that seems like the closest one. The rest, it's all pretty definitive. The Teamsters like Trump. The actual Teamsters, the guy who paid the dues, the guys who pay the dues to pay the salaries of the leadership, they like Trump. But again, nobody ever accused unions of not being corrupt. Union leaders of not being corrupt, right? Spambot fodder. How you doing, Spambot? Teamster leaders prefer Kamala. The members prefer Trump. Yes, exactly. 100% true. All right. So, but again, we get to the, guess we're thinking about the polls, right? And we know the polls have been biased in the last two presidential elections. That's not just my opinion. I mean, you can just look at the numbers. Let's go here. I asked Grok to put some stuff together for me. Based on the information available up to September 24th, 2024, the polling errors in swing so let's actually go to national polling error. The national polls in the final weeks were off by an average of 4.5 percentage points, indicating a bias towards Joe Biden. So the national polling error in 2020 was 4.5 percentage points, indicating a bias towards Joe Biden. Who's ahead in the polls right now, according to 538, which is an aggregate? Now, it's an aggregate that takes most of the polls, but the one poll that's been either the most accurate or nearly the most accurate, which is Rasmussen, was actually taken out of this aggregate for some reason for this election cycle. I think I know why. They've got Harris up 48 point. They've got her up 2.7%. So 538's got Harris up by 2.7%. They've got her at 48.3, Trump at 45.6, 2.7. Now, the 2016, they were off, biased in favor of Hillary Clinton by 3.2%. 4.5% in 2020, bias in favor of Biden. If it's the same in 2024, I mean, both of those levels of bias would put Trump in the lead right now, according to this. So this is, and I'm sure they the Harris campaign, the DNC, they can't be unaware of this problem, right? The unaware of the kind of errors in weighting these polls, which is probably intentional. It's probably intentional to try and give confidence to Democrats to vote and dissuade Republicans from voting, I'm guessing. To try and give an air of inevitability to Harris. So let's take a look at, we can go through. Here's all of the different polls they're aggregating there. They've only got Trump winning in this, only one. But the aggregate, apparently they're saying, is 2.4%. They're up by 2.4 points, not 2.7. So she's up by 2.4 according to this, which still, if you have even just the 3-point-something% from 2016 that the polls were off by, that still puts Trump ahead. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at some states here. Pennsylvania, they have Harris up by 1.3. Let's find out what the error was in Pennsylvania in 2020. An error of 5.8 points against Donald Trump, meaning polls showed Biden leading by more than he actually won by. 5.8 off. If the polls now are off by 5.8, that's an easy win for Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. Now, I'm not saying that the polls are off. I'm just saying that historically they have been. Let's take a look at Wisconsin. Wisconsin, they've got Harris up by 1.9. Let's see. In Wisconsin, polls showed Biden leading by 8.4 points, but he won by only 0.6, leading to a 7.8 error in the margin of polling error. Again, if the polls are off by that much again, easy win for Trump. What else have we got here? Let's take a look at Georgia. Georgia, 1.3 for Trump at this point. 1.3 for Trump. 1.3 for Trump. What was it? Georgia, an error of 3.7 points. If it was off by the same amount, that's a really healthy win for Trump. Let's go through this. Ohio, an error of 13 points in 2020, one of the largest errors, with polls overestimating Biden's support significantly. Florida, an error of 10.4 points. Texas, an error of 4.6 points. And I don't feel like any of this was, I think it's intentional bias, intentional weighting, I think, by the way. So who was accurate? I asked Grok, how accurate was Rasmussen polling for the 2016 and 2020 election? It says Rasmussen reports accuracy in the 2016 and 2020 elections. 2016 election, Rasmussen's final polls showed Hillary Clinton leading Donald Trump by 2 percentage points, 45 to 43. This was relatively close to the actual popular vote outcome, where Clinton won by about 2.1 percentage points. So that was the popular vote. While not pinpoint accurate, was pretty close. 2 versus 2.1. Rasmussen's prediction was one of the closest among major pollsters for the popular vote, though it did not predict Trump's victory in the Electoral College. 2020, Rasmussen's final polls indicated a lead for Joe Biden over Donald Trump, varying but often cited as around 5.25 percentage points. In some analyses, close to Election Day, this was closer to the actual popular vote margin than many other polls, which showed Biden leaning by much larger margins. The actual popular vote margin was about 4.5 percentage points in Biden's favor. So that's less than 1 point difference. And it was actually in favor of Biden, though, the error there, Rasmussen. So what are they? I've been following them recently quite a bit because they historically have been pretty darn accurate. What are they saying? The latest Rasmussen Reports National Telephone and Online Survey finds that 49% of likely U.S. voters would vote for Trump, while 47% would vote for Harris. And when you see stuff like this, Teamsters in all states prefer Trump to Kamala, that's kind of a big deal. And when you see the margins of like 30%, and as high as 75%, it's kind of a big deal. It makes you start to question what's happening with most of the polls. 538 is an aggregate, but they actually took Rasmussen out of their polling, maybe because they were too accurate and it made it look bad. Maybe it made the rest of them look like they were all, I don't know, corrupt in some way or biased in some way. I don't know. But you start to think, you see stuff like this and it makes me want to take a deeper look into what's happening and then take a deeper look at what the errors were in the other elections and what the errors were specifically, because what's really important is the swing states, what really happened there. And it looks right now, it looks to me like it's very likely that Trump is actually leading right now, regardless of what CNN or NBC or ABC News says, or the New York Times says. Although there's been a couple of New York Times Siena polls coming out lately that have looked very good for Trump as well. But in the aggregates, in the 538 aggregate, they've got Harris ahead. So by a couple of points. So anyway, none of this says anything about any level of election fortification, if you know what I'm talking about, right? None of this says anything about that. This doesn't say anything about, oh, yeah, we just found 1 million votes in the middle of the night, and they just happen to all be for Kamala Harris. Isn't that great? Wow, that was lucky. Always knew we'd pull through somehow. It doesn't say anything about that. But I think it's safe to say, just again, based on historical precedent here, that the numbers that we're getting out of the mainstream media are very, very likely to be inflated in favor of Kamala Harris. Because look, when you've got a mainstream news agency like ABC that has literally 100% positive coverage of Kamala Harris, and with the rest of them, it's like, at this point now, like 95%. positive, it's very suspicious, right? It makes it kind of hard to really not take anything that comes out of them with a grain of salt. Obviously. All right. Well, that's the first segment. Let's what are you guys saying? Nevada says Hillary was a shoo-in according to the polls. So what were the odds they were giving? Like 98% that she was going to win, like going into the election day? Let's see. Antipop says, I'm having food made by Poles. Good for you, man. Now, if you weren't here earlier, you didn't hear me. I've got some Maxime Bernier for you. Because I keep forgetting, but I remembered this time. So hang around. Nevada says, no way in hell, Kamala in the lead. Let's see, Antipop's having potato pancakes. I love potato pancakes. And something that looks like a greasy pastry. Well, maybe it's a greasy pastry. Pierogies. Nice. I love pierogies with some bacon and some sour cream. It's very nice. Let's see. All right. Okay. Let's move on. So let's talk about fucking True Gina. Can we get some True Ginas in the chat? I want to give you guys some applause. So what's True Gina doing this time? He's a man who, and I'm not saying I know anything about him. I'm not saying I know anything about Justin Trudeau, his private life or his habits or anything like that, or his preferences. I'm just saying that you've never seen a man more happy at a pride parade than Justin Trudeau, or at some sort of trans thing than Justin Trudeau. I'm just saying that. What it says, True Gina and what? And it's not like, we make fun of Trudeau for being possibly gay. And we put on The Voice. Say Canadians want. Canadians want pride crosswalks. But the truth is, I don't care about any of that. And I would vote for, and Antipop's not going to like this because he hates Pierre Poilievre. I would vote for Pierre Poilievre regardless. If he was gay, I would still vote for him because I like what he has to say. I don't care about the gay thing. But just with Trudeau, it's just a bit much, isn't it? I think even for gays, they look at Trudeau and they go, tone it down a little bit. All right, what's going on here?
That's me. Never fear, the Queen of the North is here. That's me. Never fear.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, I don't care about drag queens either. Have drag queen nights and have parties and everything, and have all the fun. Have the, like at adult venues. I'm not wild about the whole reading to kids thing. I'm not wild about the whole men dressed up in like this flamboyant, hypersexualized stereotype of a woman and then reading stories to 5-year-olds. I don't understand what the upside is in that. But have like the drag night and all of that, and I don't care. I really wish that there's so many things I just wish that they just hadn't made me care by doing crazy shit. Nobody cares. Dress up as a woman, perform, do, out of Barbara Streisand things or somewhere over the rainbow. Nobody actually gives a shit. I know I don't. I'm just saying that having Trudeau next to you makes it worse. It's the constant virtue signaling is what really drives everybody crazy. Anyway, I hate Trudeau. Really hate him. Let's see. Well, here's an interesting thing. We won't get into this right this second. Look at this. CSIS is now from Danger Cats. CSIS is now investigating comedian Shane Gillis's performance for possibly violating Canadian speech laws after his performance in Toronto. No, that can't. That must. He's obvious. I think he must be joking there. But listen. Although who knows? What would surprise me? Nothing would surprise me anymore.
Justin Trudeau is a fan.
Love Shane Gillis. He does the best Trump impersonation. He really does. You can tell that he actually has some affection for Trump. That's why it's good. Let's see. Nevada says true China and a true tard. That gets 2 applause. Spambot Fodder says, I'm surprised he's not in blackface. I'm always surprised when I see him and he's not in blackface. All right. And let's listen to that one more time.
Justin Trudeau is a fan.
You know, it wouldn't surprise me if he actually got arrested for doing that in Canada. I think he had a show in Toronto. That wouldn't surprise me in the least. All right. So should we do this now? So difficult to tolerate his voice. Justin Trudeau's voice. You know? Like, he's just such a genuinely despicable human being. And you have to listen to him lying and bullshitting over and over and over and over again. Eventually, it's just like nails in your ears. Nails on a chalkboard. All right, let's see. So while there's a no confidence vote in Parliament today in Quebec to stay in power, to keep his grasp on power, and the NDP, Jagmeet Singh, he says he doesn't like Trudeau and the Liberals, but he sure seems to like Trudeau and the Liberals. He sure wants them to stay in power. Also, too, if there was an election right away, he would lose seats, and maybe they'd kick him out as the leader. Although the NDP is now, I mean, I think they should just call themselves the woke party. I think it would be racist for them to get rid of him, to depose Jagmeet, because, I don't know, colonialism or something, and racism, I don't know, systemic something. So maybe he's just in for life now. I don't know. But anyway, let's watch this. Let's watch as much of this as we can stomach.
Great meeting you. It must be nice being in front of a dumb American audience who applaud you because they have no idea how hated and incompetent you actually are. So welcome to America.
Glad to be here. Glad to be here.
Sorry.
So do all Canadians.
Sorry, this is the fake one. Okay, we're going to go to, that's the Danny Polishchuk one. We'll watch that one afterwards. All right, go to the real one. That was fake. I probably my channel probably just got nuked off YouTube for that. Probably should have cut off. All right, that was an AI one. There we go. Here we go. All right, and fascism. Besides anybody who disagrees with them, of course. Does anybody disagrees with them? Far right and fascism. Colbert and Trudeau are like 2 peas in a pod. 2 peas of a lying, manipulative, cult-like. So all just propaganda and lies. Just everything. Here's the truth. Everything is worse in Canada. Everything. Healthcare, crime, censor. He's got free speech is worse. He's pushing through Bill C-63, the pre-crime censorship bill, the life in prison for hate speech, whatever that is. In Canada bill, the lunatic bill, the authoritarian, the far left authoritarian censorship bill. Let's see, housing is totally unaffordable now. Young people just don't have a dream unless they have wealthy parents of buying a house ever at this point. Most people can barely pay their rent. Just the cost of everything. The doubled national debt, which just keeps going up because of him. The fact that we spend more servicing the interest on the national debt now than we do on healthcare. He loves to talk about healthcare. He didn't mention the, 18-hour waits in the emergency rooms or waiting forever to get anything done. Didn't mention that. Now, Colbert, of course, knows nothing of Canada, nothing of the Conservative Party of Canada, and apparently he doesn't even know Pierre Poilievre's name. He just calls him Canada's Trump, because that's just the level that a Trudeau, a Colbert operate at. They don't know anything else. They don't need to. In their bubble, that's all they need. Again, Colbert doesn't even need to know the name. Doesn't even need to know Pierre Poilievre's name. He just has to call him Canada's Trump. They're all on the same team, by the way. They're all on the same team. These leftists think exactly the same everywhere in the Western world. These far leftists, these radicals think exactly the same. It's just the same, reflexively calling anyone who's not far left, far right, and a fascist. Yeah, Trudeau and Colbert are just, they're the same person. They're the same person. Trudeau and Colbert are the same person. And I would say that I can speak for myself personally here. They both they both increasingly inspire cringe and disgust just at the sound of their voices. Where's Trudeau's? What do Canadians actually think of Trudeau right now? All of his hard work and his investments. Let's see. Down by 19 points. Let's see. Odds of a Conservative majority in the next election, 99%. Less than 1% for the Liberals. Less than 1% for just winning the most seats. So, where did I have him here? Hold on. So, I don't know why Trudeau bothered to do this. It's not going to change anybody's minds, obviously, right? I guess it's just, he just likes the attention, I suppose. I mean, he's off doing this while there's a no confidence vote, even though he knows he's going to get through it. Still, it tells you something, doesn't it? He doesn't even bother to show up. I mean, there's a certain amount of contempt in that, isn't there? A contempt that he doesn't try to hide. Hold on, I got to drink some coffee. What's going on with Colbert's ratings? You know, we should do a quick fact check on that. Hold on.
Fact check.
Hold on, let me just pull this up. Colbert's ratings by year. Let's see if we can find something. What does this mean? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see. 2.586 million total viewers. Late Show. I think he's the Late Show, right? When you considering Johnny Carson used to get, oh, there we go. Sorry, you guys. Didn't Johnny Carson used to get tens of millions every night? People are kind of tuned out. But yeah, I think that Colbert and Trudeau are perfect for each other. They're both totally devoid of any kind of substance. They're both liars. They're both propagandists. They're perfect. Maybe they should get married. I think that they should. Maybe they should go and get a cottage together out in cottage country. And they can go spend the summers together there. I think they'd be very happy. Let's see. What are you guys talking about? All right, hold on. Nevada says that's the fucker who dressed up as a syringe pushing the jabs. It is. It is. Looks like we got Rosie in the chat. Good to see you. We already took a look at that Trudeau with the drag queen thing you sent me, in case you missed it. Let's see. We got a gay actor named Michael Douglas. Even I'm not for that guy. Welcome to the chat. We got POTUS George Kirby in the chat saying hit like if you think True Gina deserves to be shot into the sun from a cannon. Who couldn't agree with that? Yeah, press like. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, subscribe now. And also press like. That's an order. Let's see. Yes, we do not have a sufficient number of likes yet. I'm sorry to say. I regret to inform you. All right. So let's what are we at now? We'll watch the Danny Polishchuk AI one after we cut off the YouTube part of the stream. Let's see what else we got here. What's going on here? Trudeau doubles down on his support for Ukraine to use long-range missiles against Russia, while simultaneously saying anyone who doesn't support Ukraine is falling into Putin's trap. Justin Trudeau's insane warmongering rhetoric is the biggest threat to Canada. It's this stuff, this reckless warmongering rhetoric is a threat to the world.
Prime Minister Mike Couture from CTV News, you're one of the people who is leading the charge in trying to talk to allies in NATO to convince them to let Ukraine use those Western-donated weapons deep inside the territory of Russia.
We need the war to end. We need Ukraine to win this war. Russia's illegal invasion of a neighboring country cannot be allowed to stand. It's in direct violation of the charter.
Hold on, I'm going to start this over again.
Prime Minister Mike Couture from CTV News, you're one of the people who is leading the charge in trying to talk to allies in NATO to convince them to let Ukraine use those Western-donated weapons deep inside the territory of Russia.
We need the war to end. We need Ukraine to win this war.
Okay, Ukraine isn't going to win.
I have a slight learning disability.
It's not that I don't want them to win. It's just that they can't win. It's a war of attrition. They're losing right now. They had that incursion into the Kursk region. At first, tactically, very successful. Strategically, not so much. All that's happened is that along the Donbass region, they've been moving steadily. I mean, these aren't lightning strikes with the armies of millions of people, but slowly and steadily, they're moving forward. The Russians have the initiative, and they're going to continue to because they have more men and they have more material. The Ukrainians are running out of men, and they're having to. The front lines, they've got men in their 50s and even 60s at this point. They're running out. They're not going to win. Ukrainians can't win. In a war of attrition, the side with more men and more material will win. The Russian forces are experienced now. They've learned from the mistakes earlier. This is a fool's errand, right? This is the fight to the last Ukrainian rhetoric from Trudeau.
Russia's illegal invasion of a neighboring country cannot be allowed to stand. It's in direct violation of the charter of these United Nations, and it risks destabilizing principles of territorial integrity and sovereignty everywhere around the world.
How concerned are you?
It's all just delusional, but they can't win, though. That's the problem. They can't. They don't have enough people. They don't have enough soldiers. Again, it's a war of attrition. They can't win. The longer it goes on, the worse it gets for them. The less leverage they have for a negotiated settlement. Probably the best idea would have to have done a negotiated settlement right away, right at the start, before 600,000 Ukrainians died, before a generation of Ukrainian men died. That probably was the right time. People like Trudeau don't care, though. People like Trudeau are soulless. They couldn't care less. He'd happily send a generation of Canadians off to die. Happily do it. And he'd use all the same rhetoric, too. And he'd talk about what Canadians want and what Canadians believe. Really just, I think, a soulless monster, I'm going to say, at this point. The fact that this man just won't go away, the fact that he won't just go away, even though he knows nobody wants him anymore. He's not popular. Even though he knows, he can see the writings. He can see that the writing's on the wall. He can see he's not going to win. He's going to burn his party down. Does not care. People like this are capable. People like Justin Trudeau are capable of anything. Totally immoral, conscienceless sociopaths, I believe.
That if Donald Trump becomes president again, that he'll follow through on his promise to end aid for Ukraine, and that could essentially mean game over for Ukraine.
Lies, 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 lies. What Donald Trump wants to do is force a negotiated settlement. Right? He's told Putin, either you come to the table or I'm going to give them more weapons. I'm going to give Ukraine more weapons. But what's the truth? What does the truth matter? Especially when you're talking to Justin Trudeau, just tee him up a lie and he can take a swing.
We've unfortunately seen right-wing parties around the world stepping back in their support of Ukraine, playing with support of Putin, which is...
stepping back from their support of World War III. Just telling the truth is not supporting Putin. Just telling the truth is telling the truth, reality. Just speaking reality, Ukraine cannot win. It's impossible. It's a war of attrition, right? And they're on the short side of it. It's a problem. The best thing for everybody is a negotiated settlement that just, what are the chances of World War III? I don't know, even if it's 1%, maybe we ought to try and get rid of that 1%, maybe. I mean, sorry, what am I thinking? That's far right. That's Putin. That's support of Putin there. I wouldn't want to do that. But by the way, I don't support Putin. I don't support Russia. I wish they hadn't invaded Ukraine. But it's just reality is reality. It's something that these far leftists seem to have a problem with. Or maybe they just don't care.
Unfortunate, even in Canada, where the Conservative Party of Canada voted against a measure on Ukraine free trade, we see that there are temptations by a lot of people on the right to fall victim or to act on Putin's misinformation and disinformation.
He is happily bringing Canada to its knees in service of his power and the greater glory of Justin Trudeau. That's the thing with these radical leftists like Justin Trudeau. Like, they will happily bring your society, you yourself, to your knees, destroy you, destroy your culture, destroy your society for themselves, for the greater glory of them. And they'll just lie and lie and lie and tell you the same old tired lie. Don't forget, the CBC informed us that, Putin might be behind the Freedom Convoy, behind the truckers. Forget that. The Justin Trudeau funded CBC, the government funded state media, CBC. These people will bring you to the gates of hell. That's what's at the end of the primrose path, with all the flowery language and all the flowery rhetoric and the platitudes. Straight to the gates of hell for the greater glory of Justin Trudeau and his ilk. Let's see. Everyone bugging out about Russia. Me keeping an eye on our own shady ass government. Pretty good. All right. Anyway, maybe we'll do, we did a Ukraine war video a couple of months ago. Maybe we'll do another one and I'll show you guys exactly what's happening there and how all of this talk about Justin Trudeau, saying Ukraine must win, how that's just not going to happen. That's just delusional. He's either delusional or he's lying for his own benefit. And it's a horrible fucking war, by the way. A horrible fucking... It shows you how soulless these people genuinely are. The people they're willing to sacrifice in horrible ways. Again, to their own greater glory. For the sake of their own greater glory. Truly disturbing. Let's see. I think we did that one last time. All right. There's Justin Trudeau. This is what he cares about. So he wants to fight to the last Ukrainian, and he also wants to go hang out with drag queens. Because he's a tough guy. Right? He knows what Canadians want. Let's see what you guys have to say. Hold on, let's go back here. Let's see. You could just rant about Trudeau all night long. Let's see. Well, POTUS George Kirby has an excellent point here. He said that if you don't subscribe, you're basically a commie. And he's right. Okay. Spambot Fodder says, Trudeau makes true the fact that you can tell when a politician is lying. They are moving their lips. Yep. It's very true with him. Especially true with him. Let's see. What's the nuke ad? What's going on with that? What was the nuke ad? Anyone see the nuke ad? Nevada asks. What's the nuke ad? Let's see. Antipop says this tunnel to China must get built. Yeah.
Mr. Mike, look.
Let's see. By people from India. That's right. Antipop says diversity tunnel. Yep. Let's see. Nuke ad. Rosie's asking, was there a nuke ad from Nevada says there's an ad Russia put out last weekend that's showing just what one nuke will do to London. Let's take a look. Hold on.
Fact check.
All right. Pro-Putin media simulates nuclear strike on London. Let's take a look. So what is this? All right.
While it's a digital simulation, we do want to caution you that you may find the visuals disturbing. The 4-minute video was shown on a propaganda channel in Russia as the UK debates whether to allow Ukraine's military to use long-range missiles against Russia. The TV network is owned by Russian oligarch Konstantin Malofeev, a close ally of President Putin. Known as the Orthodox oligarch due to his ties to the Russian church, the Malofeev network originally aired the video 3 months ago, but it's been recycled to intensify psychological pressure on Britain. The video's narrator details a nuclear bomb striking the heart of London. It begins with an explosion over Westminster, followed by a massive fireball and mushroom cloud rising over the city. Iconic landmarks like Buckingham Palace, the Shard, and other cultural sites are shown obliterated by the blast. The video then concludes by highlighting the inadequacy of London's hospitals to cope with such a catastrophe. Meanwhile, Ukraine continues to assert its right to respond to Russian missile attacks on its territory. This all comes on the heels of another troubling development: Russia's test of a doomsday nuclear missile. However, the launch ended in failure, with a massive explosion destroying the test site in northern Russia. For more on this story, download the Straight Arrow News app or...
So it's one thing. Hold on. So it's one thing for Ukraine to use its own domestic missiles against Russia, because Ukraine has a right to defend itself, obviously, right? It has a right to defend its own territory, and it was the one that was invaded. But you see, when you start giving your weapons, your long-range weapons, long-range missiles, all of a sudden that changes things. All of a sudden, really, how can you say that you're not at war? You're not a part of the war. So it's something that people are frighteningly just unaware of, right? Like, do I think there's a large chance of a nuclear conflict? No, I think it's a very, very small chance. But the consequences are the end of civilization. Like the consequences, if there's that razor thin chance, if it happens, the consequences are the end of civilization. Right? So it's something you've really got to consider. Maybe don't be totally reckless like a Trudeau. Blithely talking about Ukraine must win, and apparently either just lying or totally unaware of the reality on the ground. Let's see. Hold on, you guys. Let's see. POTUS George Kirby says it just sucks for Russia because if they did nuke London, at least 10 different countries would send nukes to Moscow. Yeah. That's why I say it's a very, very slim chance of it happening, but any chance is too high of a chance. Let's see. Kirby says if one nuke flies, hundreds will fly. That's the risk. That is the risk. All right, let's move on. Where are we at now? David Sachs points out, this is from Kanakawa the Great. David Sachs points out that Routh, the man who attempted to assassinate President Trump, has tweets that sound exactly like Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and the corporate media. Well, let's take a look at this. They continue to say that Trump's the threat. It's Trump's rhetoric that's the threat, though. Weird.
And just on the second assassination attempt, I don't know if you even want to go there, but I mean, gosh, I'm so glad that he didn't get shot at again. This is scary stuff, folks. This rhetoric's got to come down. I keep saying it. Nobody wants to listen to me, but man.
Well, let's look at the rhetoric that Ryan Ruth was literally quoting on his Twitter, was saying that Trump is basically an existential threat to democracy. He was quoting what Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the mainstream media have been saying chapter and verse. So I think that, if you want to ascribe motivation there, where did Ruth get these ideas? They've been endlessly amplified by the mainstream media. And it's not like a one-off comment. It's been the central narrative for the last several years, is that somehow Trump represents this existential threat to democracy. And one way or another, that threat must be eliminated. And I think Ryan Ruth simply took literally what the mainstream media has been saying.
1% of your followers is what I tell everybody. High profile people you and I both know is 1% of people in your following, and we all have large followings here, and there's certainly people who have extremely large followings. 1% are mentally ill. Like when I say mentally ill, I mean severely mentally ill. And if it's but 1% of your following, if it's 0.1%, this could be thousands of people. And this is what happened to John Lennon and other famous people who've been killed tragically, is those mentally ill people interpret things in a very different way. And when you say, a phrase that has triggers in it, threat to democracy, fight like hell, whatever it is, they interpret it differently. And so just please,
Well, when
folks,
you call
if
the
you've
guy
been-
Hitler for years, and again, you create millions or billions of impressions around that. And it's not like a one-off statement, but it's something that's drummed into the public over and over again. It seems to me you're asking for trouble.
Stay safe. Please tone down the rhetoric, everybody. And we will see you next time on the All In podcast.
Feels to me like there's a bit more at play than just the guy being mentally ill, right? Like, he's up flying off to Ukraine. Somebody's financing all this, by the way. Guy didn't have any money. He's like flying off to Ukraine. He's living in Hawaii and he's going to Florida and flying all over the place. Somebody's financing this. Obviously, there'd be 3-letter agencies all over this guy. Somehow he knew what day to be at the golf course for a last-minute decision to play golf for Trump. It all feels kind of weird, doesn't it? Feels a bit strange that it's just a tiny bit odd, I have to say, just like the first one in Butler. But I think right now, what we have to do is, I think it's time to cut short the YouTube part of this. So we're streaming live right now on Rumble and YouTube. We can't do the whole stream on YouTube anymore because of censorship from YouTube. You could call it StalinTube or MaoTube. You could even call it like CastroTube or Pol Pot Tube if you wanted, or Mark's Tube. I don't know. All I know is that there's a big censorship problem on YouTube, so we can't do the whole stream there live anymore, but we will continue on with Rumble. And Rumble's great. Rumble's awesome. The chat's full. We've got a really lively chat here. We got great people over here. The water's fine. Come over. Introduce yourself. Everybody's going to welcome you in. Anyway, apologies. We have to cut off for YouTube now. Sorry, not sorry. Thanks to everybody who's been watching there. But move over to Rumble, and we're going to keep the party going. Otherwise, I will see you on Friday. Ah.